I returned from my first day of work sunburned and disillusioned. Earlier that day, a young Peruvian nurse and I had set out on a mission to make what she described as house calls. I envisioned grateful families opening the door, but instead, we wandered up and down unlabeled roads for hours, scouring faded door numbers that had been randomly assigned, it seemed, at the whims of previous occupants. Directions offered by strangers often led us further astray. The nurse informed me that women would even intentionally leave fake addresses out of fear that they might die in a hospital. The problems seemed insurmountable. Nonetheless, I returned day after day to the tiny clinic called Miraflores in hopes of finally contributing something meaningful. I was initially disheartened by the crumbling building, the lack of water, and the scarcity of supplies. Yet each day I would return to find the physicians mopping dirt off the floors, patching holes in the ever-sinking ceilings, and shooing wild dogs out of their offices. One day, I was in the middle of ushering in the next patient when a woman approached me, wringing her hands with worry. Her mother, she said, was very ill and unable to move. I had no idea what the attending physician would want to do, or how he would treat this immobile patient. Despite the late hour, once the last patient had been seen, we gathered up the necessities in an empty trash bag and followed the woman out onto the dusty street. We boarded a crowded van, which took us up a steep hill. We hiked up a narrow trail chased by chickens until we arrived at a humble house. Wild dogs barked threateningly until we entered the safety of a dingy room in which the woman lay in a heap of tattered blankets. While I filled out the paperwork, the doctor attended his patient. We emerged from the experience sweaty and exhausted, but victorious. Together, we had helped not only her, but her entire family. I realized that sometimes patients were unreceptive to help, despite every effort. But for every patient that would not be helped, there was one just as willing. For these patients, the physicians at Miraflores would scrub dirt off the floors each morning, patch holes in the ceiling, chase wild dogs out of common areas, and even climb mountains.